another episode of Deliciously Creepy. With me is my brother Emilio and I'm Andrea.
Hello everybody. So we're going to do an episode that it's going to be very, very interesting. And what is it about, Andy?
Especially if you live in Mexico, you've probably heard about this before. And yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy theories. So if you are into aliens, CIA, conspiracies and things like that.
Traveling into another dimension and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly like that. Probably you heard this case that happened in the middle of the 90s, literally. And we're going to talk today about the disappearance of Jacobo Grinberg Silverbaum.
Let's begin.
Okay, so what do you know about Jacobo Grinberg Silverbaum without knowing anything what I'm going to say about?
Well, I honestly haven't heard anything about him until recently that you told me about him. But I do remember that we did an episode about this haunted place in Mexico City that it's called the House of the Witches. And there's this woman that it's a little bit related to him. So yeah, that was the only thing I knew about him.
So that woman was integral part of this story, and it used to be a shaman.
Like a witch?
Yeah. And she was called Pochita. And she had...
Pochita? Like, she's someone?
No. But, so yeah, that's the thing about this guy. And well, we're going to develop into this story that is alien CIA and things like that. So,
nice.
The first thing to know is that on December 12, 1994, the family of Jacobo Grinberg, a doctor in psychology, prepared a party for his 48th birthday, but Jacobo would never arrive. Something that at the time was described as Jacobo being Jacobo. What they didn't know was that Dr. Grinberg will never be seen again.
Ever. Well, like, if that happened...
What would you do if I disappear one day in my birthday party?
I don't know. Like, maybe some part of me would say it's Emilio being Emilio, and maybe he fell asleep and overslept, and that's why he didn't show up. But honestly, I would be very concerned because I was about to say that. If this happens, like, imagine this case happens nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, immediately you would say, like, a murder, like someone kidnapped him, but you wouldn't think like, oh, of course, aliens.
True. I don't know, maybe, Andy. Maybe you were kidnapped by aliens.
Yeah, and you wouldn't be able to tell anyone that because...
Yeah. You're expecting a ransom call, but no, they're dissecting me. So, who was Dr. Grinberg? And that's an important question. Jacobo Grinberg Silverbaum was born in Mexico into a Jewish family, and since he was a child, he was interested in the functioning of the brain, following the death of his mother due to a stroke. His mother was in her 30s, and that's fucking scary because I just arrived to my 30s when this happened, and Jacobo took it as a way of life to know what was going on in the minds of the people. So he was very interested to see if he could actually save people that have this kind of disease. Okay. Because of course her mom was lived 5 years very bad, and he saw that descent right when he was a child. He saw how she passed from this amazing woman into someone that is dying, right? So,
wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's very, very sad. But curiously, actually helped him to become who he became, right? Who he became. So he entered the National University of Mexico, the UNAM, as we call it in Spanish, and to study psychology. In 1970, he will go to New York to study for his doctorate. and doing his thesis on electropsychological effects of geometric stimuli in the human brain. Sounds crazy, but it's not that much. They actually just putting lights and putting colors and shapes into people, like they're in a room and they put that stuff into their heads and to see.
Do you see the green light?
Yeah, basically, but what they're doing is actually looking at how the brain is reacting.
Okay, so he was like a very how do you say it, a person that it's really into the academia and this kind of stuff.
Exactly, and also it's actually quite funny because with this we have seen how it has evolved to the point of, I remember I saw this story, my mom told me that she was they hired her company for to know who had still some equipment, and they have all this technology that you just put things in the head and asking some questions, because you're not going to tell him what you were. No, you're just like, okay,
teasing.
Yeah, probably is this guy, but we cannot tell him, and just by the reaction of the brain, you can know who it is.
Yeah, of course, because they get nervous and stuff.
Yeah, and that's all. No, it's not like that. The brain literally is some iris spark, and you know that with that.
Oh.
And that's all technology. We're talking about things that
Aliens.
happened 15 years ago. So, yeah. So, after his return from New York, he returned to Mexico City. He founded the psychophysiology laboratory at the Anáhuac University. And the psychophysiology is today what we know as cognitive neuroscience.
Oh.
So it has another name, and I think cognitive neuroscience is a little bit easier. And cognitive neuroscience studies how psychological and cognitive functions are produced by the nervous system. Later he will do the same at the National University, like founding this laboratory. So he was working in both, in Anáhuac and in UNAM. That are very good universities in Mexico, especially in UNAM. Anáhuac, yeah, it depends. In 1987, he will found the IMPEC, that's the National Institute for the Study of Consciousness, and it was financed by the UNAM and the CONACYT, that used to be
this investigation.
Yeah, this decentralized part of government that was helping investigation and the creation of different technologies and studies into, for example, psychology.
But we lost it.
Yeah, it's not good for the communism of this country. But Jacobo stopped being a serious. Yeah, after what happened with the books for children,
yeah,
it's going to be amazing. But Jacobo stopped being a serious scientist for his peers, and that's the thing you don't want to happen. You don't want to happen to you. When he began to be interested in topics that are considered non-scientific, like
magic.
Yeah, exactly. To the lack of being able to do the scientific method in them. So that's a problem. The problem is not that they're magic. You cannot do a scientific method. What's a scientific method, Andy?
Oh.
TikTok, you're going to fail.
You study it when you have biology and stuff. Well, it's something that it can be proven, and you follow different steps, like, yeah.
No.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's of course you need to prove it. So if you prove it, you have to repeat the same experiment over and over again, and have the same results over and over again.
Yeah, but that, like, look it up, like the specific definition.
But
it's not that.
Okay, but so so again, because he couldn't do the scientific method in these things, which in the theory leads to not being able to prove things, and that they are only conjectures, right? Because like, oh, this happens, but you cannot prove that you can do it over and over again and it will lead to the same result. It means that it's not scientific. And yeah, so how did this change happen? How he became a pariah between his peers? And how does a rigorous scientist from the National University, the best university in the country, it's equivalent in the United States of Harvard or I forgot the name, MIT, and gets into issues that are not all scientific. And yeah, I know. People in those universities also sometimes get into things that are not scientific. But here we go into the mysterious, into the aliens and History Channel and things like that. So the thing is this, Jacobo Grinberg was studying this theory, was creating this theory. So he was creating this theory where he was saying that there were different
universes.
No, like in the movie we saw.
What? Which one?
Lovecraft Country.
Dimensions.
Yeah, like there are different dimensions.
A multiverse.
Something like that, and that you could actually see things. He actually was like doing this research on kids, blinding them and making them read. And that's kind of weird. And apparently, allegedly, the kids could read with like blindfolded, and they could read like if you have a book here. They were saying that, so that's why your face is like what everybody else was like what. And
you know what? There's a video game. Let me look it up because I recently played it, and it's about a girl that you are doing like they are doing her some tests, like psychological tests, and
she needs to read something from afar.
Yes, and guess what the image is, and she guesses, and then all his force, it's outside.
Yeah, exactly,
and it's evil.
And she was saying he was looking into this, and the problem was that some kids got scared because apparently they saw things that were bad. Yes,
it's called Beyond Two Souls, and the game features Jodie Holmes, one of two players' characters. The other is an incorporeal entity named Aiden, a separate soul linked to Jodie since birth.
Yeah, I haven't played, but I know it. And in the 80s, he was doing this with the kids. He also got involved with Pachita. So apparently, the Pachita, again, as we said, was a witch, a shaman that could do surgery on people with her own hands. You know,
without any equipment.
Yeah, without any equipment. She will put someone on the table and be like, "Oh, with my hand, I'm going to open you." That.
Yeah, and then she was like, "I'm going to take your kidney, and because it's not working, I'm going to heal it and then put it back to you." So
yeah.
Now it's all cured and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So he went there, and he was like amazed by this woman, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this is real."
Was he on any kind of drugs while he was there?
Actually, yeah, I'm going to talk about that also. So, first, when he started saying these things with this woman, he actually even wrote some books about her. That's why we know about her life and everything. And one of the things that was weird was that she never asked for money for all these things. She was doing this
for free,
and that was weird, right? I think it's weird. And
yes.
So in that sense, this guy becomes like a believer, and he starts like preaching what she's doing. Yeah, like a cult. One of the things also is that Jacobo Grinberg, of course, was in the 70s in New York, and you know what happened in the 70s in America? Psychedelics. So yeah, he was on LSD. So yeah, he was microdosing before microdosing was a thing.
Oh my god.
And one of the things is that, yeah, I think of course that could have been a factor.
He became a hippie.
He was a hippie. Yeah, he had like this long beard and long hair and everything. He actually was, he was like that, you know, with his studies, you know, the idea of the lights and how they affect. Like, it's kind of funny, but the sense is like, yeah, actually that's true, and that's scientific, and that actually...
It's been proven.
Yeah, the other one, not that much. But again, it's weird. If we're going to talk about this woman, actually, it's like, it's weird. So this woman also was saying that she was, every time she was doing a surgery, she was being possessed by the spirit of the last Mexican emperor, Aztec emperor.
Oh my god.
Cuauhtémoc.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because why? I don't know.
Why him? Because
yeah,
yes.
why she? Because fuck yeah. So there's a lot of things like that. But this guy was preaching her, and so yeah, that was why people started not believing in him. Like, okay, dude. But a lot of things were happening, right? So, and you said when we are passing to this video game, Beyond Souls, that kind of thing and those kind of experiments were done by the CIA during the 80s and the 90s, and there's actual evidence that they were doing a program that I forgot the name of the program. I have it here.
The one that the Una Bomber was on it?
No, that's another one.
Ah.
So they have the Stargate project, and in the Stargate project they actually were doing these kind of things, like, oh, we are going to use mediums. They're going to tell me where's the location of this thing.
I read a book. One of my friends gave it to me. You know what? Which friend? And it talks about.
No.
And it talks about this medium girl and how in the United States there are some programs that are qualified, and you
Qualified?
can. Well,
Classified.
Oh no, you become like a qualified medium.
Ah, okay.
Yes. So you have to take different tests and stuff and go.
What's the validation of all those things?
I don't know.
Some guy, I fucking validated.
Yeah, you're a medium, but apparently, like, she has wrote a lot of books on the topic, and like she's.
What's the name of this person?
Oh my god, I have it in the tip of my tongue. But actually, she started following me on my Instagram because I did a review of her book. Oh my god.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything bad, but
Someone, yes.
But the thing is this.
So I just want to say that I'm not surprised that all these things were happening in the United States and that he was amazed by it, because people really believe in this kind of stuff there.
Yeah, but that's why we're going to talk about the involvement of the CIA and the kidnapping. So, this is not about what he believed, well, it is about what he believed, but also we are going to go a little bit about his disappearance, because we never know what happened. And we're going to put everything on the table, not everything, but there's some that is a little bit stupid.
The theories.
Yeah, so the theories. So what happened? In December 1994, Grinberg planned a trip to Nepal, entering through India. He had already communicated that he was going on this trip to his people, the laboratory at the National University. So, or of course, his people know, but also his family, everyone knows at that moment, right? Mm-hmm. So on December 12th, and that's kind of funny. If you know he's going on the trip, why did you do a party? But well, that's okay.
Oh my god, that's true. Well, yeah, if you know that your dad is going on a trip on a certain day, why would you throw him a party?
Yeah. So.
Oh my god.
On December 12th.
Maybe it was his family.
The problem. His daughter, Stusha Grinberg, tries to talk to him. You know, he calls him. It's the 90s. We're not having cell phones.
Yeah.
But Jacobo's wife, Teresa Mendoza Lopez, tells her that he has already gone to Nepal. Mm-hmm. Again, another red flag. Like, if you don't tell your daughter that apparently they were very close.
Yeah.
That
you're already gone.
Live. Yeah. I'm going to the airport or things like that. Because first of all, they're Mexicans, they're Latins, and also they're Jewish. They're even more close than anything else.
Yes.
So it's kind of weird. And again, a couple will never appear, right? So the first days, his team at the university was surprised that he had not arrived at the laboratory, but they began to create excuses because people. So why he had not arrived? That he was still in Nepal, that he had extended his trip without telling anyone until it was obvious that Dr. Grinberg was missing. And it's like, who? Again, I understand it's different times and you couldn't talk to people. It's super weird to know that now we're so integrated and we can talk to anybody.
Anyone, yes.
But yeah, the idea like, oh no, he's eccentric. He's going to do eccentric things. That's not a good sign. It's not a good fate you want to get.
And also, if someone disappears, the first 24 hours are crucial if you want to find them.
The problem was that the family took 5 months to react.
Oh my god, 5 months? How can you let your dad be missing for 5 months? Like,
yeah, I couldn't believe it too, but I saw a documentary where they're talking about this, and they're like, yeah, it took us 5 months. I was like, dude, what the fuck? So as you were saying, the first hours is crucial. His accounts didn't have any movements, and his daughter didn't know where her father was. And until May 1995, they got to the police. So the nation's Attorney General's office created a team, so it went to high rankings, created a team to investigate the disappearance of Dr. Grinberg, put Commander Clemente Padilla of the PGJ to be in command. And because they were like, oh, this is the dude that's going to actually solve this case.
this is badass.
Yeah, this is the guy. And the team in charge of the investigation entered Jacobo's house in Tepoztlan, that is... Of course, he was living in Tepoztlan.
Yeah,
because it's a town that it has all of this shamanistic and these ideas of we're going to do yoga here and the minerals and everything.
And traveling in
It's kind of Heaven's Gate stuff. So
ayahuasca.
So they they break the lock since his wife was also missing. But remember one thing: the wife was in Mexico.
Aha.
There, they found the house as if nothing had happened.
But it wasn't the first wife, right?
Yeah, it was the third, I think.
Oh my god.
Second. So Dr. Grinberg's things were in their place as if he had never prepared to travel. Padilla will say that the police realized that Jacobo had never been to India, since there were no records that he had taken the flight, nor that he had left Mexico, or that he had arrived in Nepal.
Oh.
So all these things told us that they checked the logs, they checked with immigration, they checked with everybody. He had never left the country. So before he disappeared, Jacobo Grinberg had spoken with Tere Bale. Tere Bale is a very famous journalist. And on another occasion with his brother Jerry Grinberg, with both of them, he told them that he was afraid of his wife and couldn't stand her anymore. To the point that he had modified his combi, his
van.
Volkswagen van, to be able to put a bed there where he already slept every night outside his house.
I don't know why people do this. Like, I would get divorced and just go and live elsewhere.
You're actually living in the car. You need to get out.
Yes.
But they continued to see his wife throughout the month of December, something that made Commander Padilla tap into her phone. They realized that she had an assistant who was a watchman in a school that was called Gerardo Morales Alonso,
A vigilante.
who had military training. It's like, he's a watchman, but with military training.
That's weird.
And that was very suspicious. They saw Teresa taking things out of one of the houses in Morelos, that's the state where Tepoztlan is, in the company of a blonde woman, and they tried to look for Teresa, but they couldn't locate her. So they got in contact with her mother, and she denied knowing her, like having contact with her since 1988. That's what?
Years,
6-7 years.
Oh my god.
And she was like, no, I haven't seen her in 7 years. That's a lot of time. But they realized this was a lie. She had spoken to her 11 times in the months before the disappearance of Dr. Jacobo, and that she had been seen with her in the days after Grinberg's disappearance.
Oh my god. That's even more suspicious because you are like lying to their faces. Like,
yeah, exactly. To the police. You're lying to the police. So it is known that on May 10, 1995, she was in Rosarito, Baja California, and since she called his mother's house to speak with her, so she called her mom. They locate the location.
Yeah, traced it.
They trace it, and they sent a team to stop her, but she was no longer in Rosarito when they arrived.
Even more suspicious.
The police will realize that they had taken all the computers from the house, and all his books and studies and all his papers from his thesis were missing. So all of his research was missing, his computers were missing, but the computer was not like, remember, they had in that time
A big CPU.
the CPU and the monitor. The monitors were there, but the CPUs were missing. So everything about his studies disappeared.
Because he discovered something important.
We don't know that. So in June 1994, her daughter was on this program called Always Siempre en
Sunday.
Domingo, Always on Sunday, and it's a talk show, right? So she was presenting her band because she's a musician, and she asked permission to put up his father's picture and see if anyone had seen it. They will receive hundreds of calls.
Most of them fake.
Yeah, but one of that caught Commander Espadilla's attention, and it was from a cleaning employee in Boulder, Colorado, who said that he had seen him arrive on a plane accompanied by his wife.
In Colorado?
Yeah.
Who is watching Siempre en Domingo in Colorado?
Mexican dude in Colorado. Accompanied by his wife Teresa, her mother, and 2 FBI agents. Hence, Commander Padilla would say that the Rand Corporation was located in Boulder, a non-profit institute which does research and development for various fields, including the military, CIA,
Oh my god.
the Stargate. So we are connecting dots, right? It will be at this moment when Commander Padilla, according to his words, began to have obstacles in the matter, and from one day to the next, he will be dropped from the case.
Why he was dropped off the case?
Yeah, sometimes his bosses were like, they
It's
actually,
not really,
yeah, they call even the president, and they were like, yeah,
it's no longer relevant.
yeah, he disappeared. Period. We cannot do anything else.
Oh.
And they start saying like his investigation was not that good, that he was chasing ghosts, and that they were like, oh, but whatever, this place doesn't exist. He was like, yeah, we look at it and there's no airport there, like any kind of airport. There's only fields there, and your investigation is a lie. And he was like, but there's actually an airport there, and there's things here. And they were like, no, you need to drop it. And they actually fired him from. He will never became a police again in his life.
Oh my god, that's really drastic, you know?
So the relatives keep looking for him, but they were like, yeah, this guy is saying stupid stuff. He's not actually trying to look for him. This is bonkers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they call with that's why they dropped him, because the family was against his investigation.
So they thought that he disappeared voluntarily?
Yeah. So according to Los Angeles Times journalist Sam Quiñones, the last contact he had with Padilla, the journalist with Padilla, was from Padilla sending Quiñones an email telling him that Dr. Grinberg was admitted to a mental hospital in the United States. When Quiñones tried to communicate with Padilla, he never received a response again. It was the last thing he ever heard from the commander, like, yeah, he's in a mental hospital, and that's it. He never answered again. And this, of course, will deepen the idea that the CIA or even the NASA had kidnapped Dr. Grinberg for what he was studying. Since, as we said before, one of the things that had disappeared from his homes were his computers and the books and thesis papers he was studying at that moment, right? And as we said before, he was looking at this kind of, how can I read things from afar, or telepathy and things like that. We know that the CIA was doing with the Stargate project at the same time.
Yes.
So in 2017, in an interview that Commander Padilla would give, he will say that the person who called actually worked at the gasoline dispatcher, and that he saw a Cessna plane landing in Boulder, where Jacobo and Teresa allegedly got off in the company of 2 Secret Service agents.
So that's similar to the version that this person told the police, right?
Yeah, so it's exactly the same thing, but with little changes, right? So he was being at a gasoline station. He saw this Cessna plane arriving with two Secret Service agents. One was a blonde woman, like the one described, who had accompanied Teresa to take things out of her house. So the blonde woman they saw taking things from the house was also there in the airport, right? Like with them. It is there that Clemente Padilla begins to investigate and discovers that Dr. Grinberg collaborated with the University of Boulder, giving talks and doing talks, and but he had never told anyone that he did so.
Yes.
To the point that he never get directly to Boulder by plane. He was always making stops in other American airports. Like he was arriving to Georgia, he was arriving to Florida, he was arriving to Texas, and then moving to Boulder. So nobody actually knew he was in Boulder.
So it sounds.
He never said anybody he was in Boulder. Like that's a thing you put in your CV as a researcher. Yes! Like, dude, I'm collaborating with this university. I'm going to put it. He never said anything. That's super weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. Very secretive.
So he recontacted the caller from Boulder again, and he was in the gas station. He knew the agents because they were normally there dispatching with gasoline, and he was like, "Yeah, that's why I knew them because I know these people. I know who they are. I know they work with these secret. They are secret agents, and that's why he was." He recognized them. He recognized Grinberg because he had a very particular look, right?
Yeah.
White dude, black beard,
long beard.
Yeah, very long. And at the time of reaching that point in investigation, Padilla informed the government and the family. That's what we were saying before. But the family accused him of being a conspiracy theorist, and the government of President Cedillo put pressure on him to stop investigating, saying that the photos of the airport were false since they said there was nothing there. In the end, they forced Clemente Padilla to resign and he will never work for the police again. In 2022, when the documentary on the subject came out, they showed Dr. Grinberg's brothers an interview with Commander Padilla, and they were divided that he would never leave his daughter to go to work with the Secret Service unless security of her was in danger as some kind of blackmail. Like, oh, if you don't work with us, your daughter will have consequences, right? So that's a thing, but it's been many, many years. It came to light that Dr. Grinberg's investigations appear linked to the Stargate project, which the project wanted to see how to manipulate the human mind for military purposes and which would close in 1994. So, it's kind of weird, right? Also, Padilla discovered that the CIA and other American agencies had infiltrated educational institutions to find out about investigations of different professors, and that when required they could even force them to work for them.
Force them?
Yeah. This investigation, published by Daniel Golden, who's a Pulitzer Prize winner, shows how the CIA can come up with conferences that seem legitimate but that are to take advantage of what is said there about the investigations carried out by different academics. So they were like, oh, we're going to do this conference, right, or this talk. And they invite everybody, and everybody's like, oh yeah, this is actual stuff, but in reality it's not.
It's all made up!
Months before his disappearance, Dr. Grinberg had gone to a conference in Costa Rica, something that caught Padilla's attention. So the million-dollar question is, what happened to Dr. Grinberg? Had he been a victim of a crime of passion where his wife killed him, and then she also disappeared? And the inaction of his family helped her to escape? Or was he kidnapped by the CIA to join the research on the Stargate project? And if so, why was he never heard from again, even when the Stargate project ended in that same year of 1994? It's super weird. So there's people saying that her wife was part of the CIA and that she married him to infiltrate him.
Imagine you meet someone and you believe it's true love, but in reality she's just spying on you.
Because she was Mexican, yeah, but she did all her life in the United States. She studied there, and apparently, yeah, she was in close connections with things like that. So there's a probability that she was an agent.
Yeah.
So we have the two options: was she an agent, or she was an agent that murdered him?
An agent of the murder, yeah, because It's weird
because
that
she was like, oh, I fucking hate this guy. So,
can't take it anymore. But also because he was afraid of her, and he told persons close to him that he was afraid of her, and it's not normal that she suddenly disappeared, and then her mother saying that she never saw her in 6 years. That's not normal.
exactly, and then that's one part of it. I think we have these two different theories
Yes.
that are: was he murdered by his wife, or was he kidnapped with the help of his wife
Yes.
by the CIA?
Do you think that he is in this mental hospital?
And also, that second thing, there's a possibility that
He's still alive.
he was taken to a mental hospital as a way to dispatch him, right?
Yeah, like get rid of him and not kill him.
Yeah. So there's these two ideas. It's super weird, the CIA, because the longer you look at it, it kind of makes sense. And
Yeah.
that's a horrible thing, because you're like, this sounds so nuts. It sounds crazy. It sounds like these French conspiracy theories. But when you're looking at the data, you're like, okay, I can get why people think this.
Yeah, because all the information on his research were gone.
Yeah, the information, the computers were gone, the houses were like, they saw people faking things, and it's why would you leave jewelry? Why would you leave money? Why would you leave all that stuff and only take his investigation?
Exactly.
And the conferences.
Yeah, I was about
and
to say
everything
that.
like that. It's super weird, and also it's like all his investigation is aligned with the CIA projects, the Stargate project. So it's super weird. Of course, if I'm going to be like, oh, we take like Occam's razor, what makes more sense? And for me, what makes more sense normally will be like, what if wife killed him?
Yeah.
But this also is very compelling. Again, there's another theories. There's theories of aliens.
Yeah, aliens kidnapped
Of course,
him.
I saw that in History Channel, and it was like a 15-minute thing without any evidence, and they were like, aliens could have come and pick him up because of his investigations, and he'd go and enter this new realm of this new dimension.
Multiverse.
Shit like that.
Oh my god.
And I was like, yeah, but dude, you're not putting any, like, you're literally talking, you're not saying anything compelling. And in this other case, I'm seeing things that are very compelling. Even the director of that documentary was like, this is weird. This is weird. Like, there's no other words to put it. And many people that have done this investigation have said the same thing. It's weird. It's there's a lot of things that connect that are like, okay, I will normally go for the murder wife, but here I'm like, probably a secret agent service wife kidnapping him.
Yes,
And
it's
then
weird.
after it was, because months happen, right? After it was done for them, he could have entered a mental hospitality. Who's going to believe you there?
Yeah, no one is going
It's
to...
the perfect place to send someone you want to get rid of.
Yes. Yes.
Like in the movie,
The Secret Island?
no, from Hell, the one with Johnny Depp, where he's catching
yes.
the Jack the Ripper, and
Yes.
the guy that in the movie is the Ripper ends up in a mental asylum. So it's kind of the same thing, and I think it's super weird. I'm not like, again, we don't know. The thing is that we don't know. It's a disappearance. He had disappeared for the last almost 30 years now. Probably we'll never know what happened, but these are the theories. This is what people from the police from Mexico. I know the police in Mexico is not that well in good light, but apparently they were doing their jobs, and they believe this is what happened.
Yeah, and also why the president was so concerned about that at the beginning and then insisting on canceling all the investigation and stuff.
Yeah, also that's weird, right?
Yes,
Why would you do that?
exactly.
Like, unless someone is telling you, like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
Again, it's a rabbit hole, and you can
Yeah.
enter that rabbit hole, and you're like, of Of course it is,
And
right?
then you end up saying aliens and
then you're like, oh yeah, he's now in a new plane of a new dimension.
He discovered another realm and he's there.
So it's a rabbit hole that's terrible to see, but I don't know. My gut tells me wife kill him, but if
That's
you're
what you
looking,
think.
yeah. But if you're looking at it, it's like okay, the other one also is compelling. So what do you think?
I'm going for the CIA Stargate thingy and that he's alive in a mental hospital.
That's actually good. So tell us what do you think? What do you think is the best theory? Do you prefer the CIA? Do you prefer the wife murder him? Or
The
do you
aliens.
think aliens take him to a new dimension? So that's it for today. And perfect.
Yeah, leave us your comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, like our video, and go to our social media that we are going to leave it here down below. And we'll see you guys next week, very soon.
Hopefully.
Yes.
We're going to disappear for 30 years and then we're going to make a appearance.
Yes. Bye.